Good morning. I'm very happy to welcome you to this workshop, which aims to take stock of research on the political determinants of health. 10 years after the Lancet University of Oslo Commission on Global Governance for Health drew attention to this concept as a way of analyzing the gross inequities in global health. My name is Katerini Storeng, and I lead the Global Health Politics Group here at the University of Oslo. And as the video we just saw highlights, understanding inequities in health requires attention to the root causes and actors, including outside of the health sector, that shape health outcomes. And of course, the COVID-19 pandemic brought the political determinants of health into plain view like never before, as has the recent escalation of violence and a war done. And over the next 2 days, we hope that it'll become clear that health inequities cannot really be understood or analyzed without looking at the distribution of resources and power at local, national, and global levels. So this workshop is organized by the Collective for Political Determinants of Health, which I co-direct with Sakiko Fukuda-Parr from the New School in New York City. And the collective grew out of the Lancet University of Oslo Commission and is hosted by the University of Oslo Center for Development and the Environment, with funding from the Research Council of Norway. And the collective really provides a collaborative platform for our members. It convenes events like this one and shares information to enable joint research on projects and publications. And we publish a bi-weekly blog written by our members. In 2018, we organized a conference on the political determinants of universal health coverage here in Oslo, which resulted in the publication of a special issue of Globalized. And then in 2019, we met at the New School in New York to discuss technology as a political determinant of health, with many of the contributions from that workshop coming together in a special issue of Global Policy. And all of these publications are available, open access on our website, which also provides information about our membership and how to sign up for information about our activities and how you can participate. So over these next 2 days, collective members will present new scholarship on the political determinants of health, covering really bottom-up topics that have come from their interests, ranging from accountability and power hierarchies in global governance, to how pandemic preparedness and response has developed at the interface between public and private sectors, and how new technologies and data shape health outcomes. And this is a hybrid conference, so some of the presenters will be speaking to us from many other parts of the world, and some from here in Oslo. We do welcome audience participation. I think that there are over 200 people following online, and we hope that online participants will also feel welcome to participate, whether by writing questions in the Q&A or raising their hand, in which case we might elevate you to speak on the video shown here in this room. And for those in the room, we have a roaming microphone. So before we start, I'm very delighted to welcome Professor Åse Gornitzka to the podium, who, as pro-rector for our university, has kindly agreed to offer some welcoming remarks. Please, Åse.
Thank you. For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Health is so important that even the simplest marriage vows from the Middle Ages have made reference to them. Major determinant of people's quality of life. Sanum et infirmum. Dear all, good morning and welcome to the University of Oslo. I'm happy to be here and welcoming you to this workshop, a workshop that will focus on the last 10 years of research done on the political determinants of health, as well as looking ahead to look at the work that lies ahead of you all. This is a really impressive program and on an incredibly important topic. So I'd like to also offer my thanks to the organizers of this event, the Collective for the Political Determinants of Health. The University of Oslo is very proud for hosting this eminent international research network. So health matters so fundamentally for everyone on this planet. The right to health is seen as a fundamental human right, meaning that everyone should have access to the health services they need, when and where they need them. Well, we know this is not the case. Moreover, it is complicated. Health levels and health inequalities cannot be adequately explained by reference to some simple factors, such as divine intervention, punishment, or destiny. The workshops looks really at much more complex factors. The qualities of a political order, or what I would call a political order, as a set of strong core factors affecting access to health services and treatment and prevention of illness and poor health. Already, we have seen the colleagues here have made important observations as to what makes the global governance system vulnerable for adverse effects and dysfunctions, the side effects. So this workshop's focus on global political determinants of health puts the spotlight really, and here I cite, on the norms and policies and practices that arise from global political interaction across all sectors that affect health. And that's a long list of sectors that really affects health. And this is not only interesting research. I mean, we can have loads of interesting research being done, but it's also important observations and research results. Precisely because they can form the basis for political action. It also fits well with the ideas of how quality of government affect people's quality of life in general. Researching such a topic is not a trivial matter. It matters for countering health inequality between rich countries and low-income countries. And it also requires deeply cross-disciplinary approach and a closer look on the organized cooperation across governance levels and how policies and practices travel, so to say. And my own pet example from the European context illustrates the power of what I would call policy framing. The story of how alcohol consumption in the Nordics was seen as a health policy problem. But when traveling to Brussels, it changed and got translated into internal market regulation problem or agricultural policy problem. And with it, and I think that's important and relevant to the issues discussed here today, with it, this translation and this transformation, we saw also changes in actor sets and in the interests and also the knowledge gaining access to decision making. And with it also distributional and redistributional effects. So policy framing, important implications. And using scientific information to address global health equity in practice is in any way no less trivial than researching it. So the collective of the political determinants of health project is, I think, a very excellent example of how to grapple with this challenge. And as Katerini also mentioned, the COVID-19 unveiled a bleak global pattern of vaccine inequality. It also demonstrated amply the need for new ways of working together in scientific communities across institutions in low and high income countries. And we at the University of Oslo, we were and still are working on this issue, together with research-led universities in Africa, on the African continent, and our European partners. Together, last year, we established an extensive research cooperation through the initiative Africa-Europe Clusters of Research Excellence. To start with, we have 20 such clusters established and over 250 researchers involved so far, and many of them work on issues related to public health. So there are interesting times ahead. So best of luck with the workshop, and I'm totally convinced that you will have inspiring days. Once again, welcome.
Thank you very much, Åse, for those opening remarks that also directed our attention to how the political determinants of health are relevant, also here in Norway. So we are really delighted that so many members of the collective have stepped forward to participate in this meeting and to present. But we're also very sad that we are missing one of our very valued members who sadly died over the Christmas break. Susan K. was a very highly valued member of our collective, and Sakiko Fukuda-Parr will now offer some words in her memory before we start the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
So it's really hard to think of anyone working on issues of intellectual property or access to medicines who would not have read Susan for an essential introduction to the politics of IP negotiations. She really graphically described and left no doubt as to why politics matter. We were particularly privileged to have collaborated with her on her most recent work, which turn around the questions of 21st century capitalism and how this form of capitalism is dramatically, substantially different from 20th century capitalism. Her contributions to the 2018 and 2019 conferences and to the subsequent special issues grounded our understanding of the political determinants of health within the context of these shifts in the global economic system. Both the papers she contributed argued how the particular features of 21st century capitalism, that is monopoly capitalism, finance capitalism, the importance of intangibles and global value chains, the central role of intellectual property, how these features actually relate to and drive inequality. So she argued, for example, that structural, and I quote, structural economic changes have had negative effects on medical innovation and public health and are poorly aligned with simple goals. This is a very simple and for us, rather an obvious statement, but her really stunningly clear articulation of this problem, for me, for example, was an absolute sort of aha moment. And I assign her paper to my classes, of course. It really is one of the most lucid expressions of the political determinants of health, how the global economic system, its power structures, dominated by corporate capital and the operations of finance capitalism, is far more pernicious than 20th century capitalism. She was a model of a scholar. She was driven by ethical pursuits. She was intellectually rigorous and focused on questions that had real life significance. She was, moreover, not only a generous colleague, but just a very warm human being. And I want to share with you a message that she sent me. And you know, as I was looking over some of the interactions I had with her in preparing to speak this morning, I came across this message that she sent me back in March 2020 at the onset of the pandemic, when New York City had turned into ground zero for COVID-19. She says, "Dear Sakiko, I'm thinking of you and I'm aching for your wonderful city and all the shocking loss. New Yorkers are nothing if not resilient, and I hope that you are comfortably and safely sequestered. With best wishing you health. All best, Susan." Just a very simple and straightforward expression, but just reaching out to a colleague and a friend with a great warmth and concern. So I think in all these ways, Susan leaves a lasting legacy in her contributions to the collective and inspiring us to move further. And for me, certainly in inspiring a research agenda. Thank you.